Hey everybody, my name's CatAttack123 and I'm joined by...
Merc?
And Mr. Jensen.
And we are going to be discussing E3, because E3 happened that happened last week. And there was some pretty big stuff, so we're going to go over what we liked. I don't know, is there any news after E3? It's kind of been dead. It's the post-E3.
Not that I've been aware of.
Yeah. Nobody has anything interesting to discuss.
They got it all out.
Yep, they did. So let's just jump right into what we liked at E3. I personally, I guess I'll start, Star Wars Battlefront. I've been waiting for that game for 10 years now, and it's finally happening, and I was so excited to hear it. I didn't get to watch the press conference, but when I got the message from my friend, because my friend texted me, he's like, dude, there's a new Star Wars Battlefront coming out. I was like, oh my god!
Yeah,
and then it's developed by DICE, so there's going to be destructibility.
I mean, really, it basically was Battlefield.
Yeah.
So who else better to take over?
I don't have a problem with that, actually.
And the thing about Battlefront was that Battlefront 1 and 2 were kind of cool because they were set in the Star Wars universe, but they were always sort of, like Battlefield's retarded little brother or something. It was never really as good as fluid as, it was kind of cool, but at the same time it never caught on, and it was never that great.
It's like a hipster game.
In my opinion. Yeah, and a lot of people have come back to it, sort of like, they were pretty cool games, they were overlooked. But back then, I bought it, and there weren't that many people playing it online, and the reviews were kind of okay, but I feel like all Star Wars games back then got good reviews no matter what. So I really think it's cool that it sort of comes full circle, because I remember back then I was like, wow, this is so great. If only DICE could do sort of like a Star Wars game, and now it actually happens. Yeah,
it's happening.
I never really got too into them. I think I played them, but it never really got me. So, but I mean, I like Battlefield.
We saw, it was just like a 30-second teaser on Hoth, and everybody's like, "Oh my god!" The internet imploded. It's like Half-Life 3, and then Star Wars Battlefront, and then Time Splitter. What is that game?
Yeah, there's one Time Splitters.
Time Splitters that everyone wants, or whatever.
That was from I forget what they're making now, but they
too.
There was also the fighting game, the Killer Instinct game.
Yeah, a lot of people wanted that. That's coming to Xbox One exclusive.
Woo.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone buys a PC for fighting games anyway.
Mortal Kombat's coming out this month.
Just fighting games.
I bought
or next month.
Is it really? I bought Mortal Kombat way when it came out, but just fighting games to me, I don't know. I just moved on from that kind of game.
Yeah, I think you're gonna need probably a controller to play it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know, controllers are always better for fighting games.
Yep.
What else? We had The Division.
Yeah.
That looked pretty.
That's I think
amazing.
The one big thing that kind of.
It was out of the blue.
Surprise was not just that game, but the amount of connected online open world games, and none of them called themselves an MMO.
Yeah.
But that Division, there's the Bungie's new game,
Destiny.
There were just a bunch.
Yeah, The Crew.
Yeah, The Crew. There were a bunch. That was kind of neat. It's kind of something I wanted to see. I think probably a lot of gamers for a long time that I don't think regular MMOs have ever fulfilled, and like the Division just looked amazing to me.
I agree. So. It did look very, very cool. But yeah, that's basically it for me. The PS4 made me a little giddy. Yeah. Just a little bit. When hearing the price point, I got a PS3 over the weekend for The Last of Us that I've been playing a lot of, and basically I've been playing that, and I was like, the 30 frames per second was like killing my eyes because I'm so used to the master PC race, 120 frames per second, full HD. And I was like, but it's such a good game, so I'm enjoying that. So I'm definitely looking forward to the PS4 and what games that has to offer in the first year. And
I basically came away like, if I'm going to buy one of them, it's going to be the PlayStation 4. But at the same time, I was looking at all of those again, the Division was like, I'll play it on there if I have to, but
I want it on PC.
I really want it on
It's got to
PC.
be
I think it will be.
Yeah, they've started a petition. It's got like 50,000 signatures already of people that want it on the PC. And so yeah, there's definitely a market for it, but that's basically what I liked. What did you like, Merc?
Yeah, like I said, that I was really just happy with the amount of games and a lot of things that looked new. I got to see DayZ a little bit more, so that was nice.
It still looks clunky. I
a little bit, but see, I'm willing to put up with it because it's just I want that. I really liked what they did with it. It looks like they're adding more to it, so it's not just a mod. But I also got to see a little bit more about Oculus Rift, and they had the 1080p version there. That thing looks like it's going to be pretty great.
Yeah, the Oculus Rift, when it comes to that, I'd have to try it IRL to get it, because watching videos of it, you can't get the full effect.
No. Yeah, it's one of those problems where they can't have that up on stage because you see the two images. You know, it would just look goofy. But I mean, everything I've heard from people with hands-on stuff from the video game industry is that it actually works. Like, they're always like, "Wow, it works as what you want it to be," and that's it.
And I was kind of in the same boat. Like, I was kind of skeptical. My brother showed it to me when it first went on Kickstarter, and he was really excited because he's always been interested in the whole virtual reality sort of thing. And I was always interested in it, fascinated by it, but after so many failed attempts, I've kind of sort of grown comfortable with the thought that it's pretty much impossible to do it, to pull it off. So when this Kickstarter came along, it was kind of, I don't know, it might work, but I don't know. And then, of course, you get all the people saying when the project was on, the sort of like John Carmack and so on, who were supporting it. But still, it was kind of like the 3DS, the Nintendo 3DS, when it they started showing it, and people were like, wow, it really works, and it's really cool. But then eventually it turned out it gives people headaches, not to mention all the stuff that there's not that many games that actually utilize that stuff. And there's not that many games utilizing the technology.
Well, even with that, I mean, I would say, even with this thing, I still think it looks awesome. I don't think anything will ever replace my 27-inch monitor with 2560 by 1440 res, and that's just going to get higher as well. I mean, the resolutions and all that, they're already talking about like a 4K resolution monitor. So I mean,
you have these flexible monitors that you can basically bend around your head or stuff.
I think the Oculus Rift where it will be interesting is that it will not just I'm going to play Battlefield. I don't really think that will be. I mean, that will be cool, but I think making games for it, and there was that one where it's like a diving simulator, things like that.
You make it an experience instead of just a peripheral. Sort of, and it's and also it started this whole. Now you see other Kickstarter projects popping up, like the treadmill and the you can sit. And some of these things
as that looks, I really want to do that.
It's stupid as hell, but it's at least if it works, then it could be cool to maybe see it in arcades or something like that. If
big step in this direction.
And I just like the fact that it's even if it doesn't turn out to be this sort of game changer, I'm in the same boat as you, Mark. That I think it's going to be really cool, and it works apparently. But I don't think it's going to replace regular just mouse and keyboard screen everything that we're used to. But I think it actually opens up for new things, for an evolution in a certain
Sure.
direction that can make these
Yeah.
games more of an experience on their own.
Yeah, the
Definitely.
video was like, "Do you want to take a jog in Skyrim?" I'm like, sure, why not?
Why not? Yeah, so that was cool.
That was pretty
But those, it was just the things I thought that were great were just all the new stuff, not the systems necessarily even themselves. Just with the new console cycles, even us PC gamers are going to see a lot of new innovations in our own games. So
yeah, Watch Dogs.
Yeah.
Can't wait
yeah,
for that.
tons of stuff. Yeah.
What did you like, Mr. Jensen?
Well, I wasn't really. I was really impressed by E3. I saw a lot of great games. It was overall much better than previous years, when they've kind of been just running on fumes. And there are a lot of new games, new cool, like you mentioned, Division. Not just that it looks like a cool game, but the promises it's making towards the whole.
Yep.
Being an MMO without being an MMO, and usually if you have all points bullet in games like that are MMOs, and they try to get the mechanics of a third-person shooter in, but they don't manage to do it, and there's lag and stuff like that. It's cool that they're trying something new, but I wasn't as surprised as I thought I might be. The only game that really surprised me, I think, or one of the few at least, it was Metal Gear Solid 5, because it's open world, and it started out, it looked like, wow, is Rockstar coming out with another game?
Yep.
And another Dead Redemption sequel. And it looked cool, and supposedly the gameplay was running on a PC, even though we haven't gotten a confirmation of the PC platform yet. But it looks really cool, and I was surprised.
I think it was confirmed it's coming to PC.
I think they said maybe, but
No, but
I think it will. Who knows?
I don't see
I'm
why
pretty
it
sure it
wouldn't.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but I really hope it does. It looks cool. But other than that, I was, further impressed by Assassin's Creed 4, Rome 2, The Witcher 3, even though I didn't see much. I hear rumors that there was a 30 minutes or so presentation or something.
Okay.
But I didn't see that. I haven't seen any videos. Dark Souls 2 looks cool. Thief 4, even though it's more of a Dishonored sequel than a Thief sequel, it still looks cool. But overall, I was kind of I wasn't that much in awe, but the things I saw that I thought I would like, I liked, and I got to see more of them, so I'm happy for that at least. I wasn't disappointed by anything.
Well, that's good.
Nice.
What else is there to talk about?
Well, the press conferences for Sony.
There is a lot. I don't know. Hey, should we talk about the press conferences? I mean...
Yeah, we can mention them. I mean, I think Microsoft was, to me, as just a gamer. I mean, I'll play games wherever I can get them, even though I mainly play on the PC. So I was looking, like I said, which one am I going to get? I'm not going to get all of them on, But then watching, it's like they just seem kind of tone deaf to me. Microsoft. They don't really speak to what I want anymore.
I don't know who they speaks to at all.
Yeah, well, I'm even looking at something right now that Amazon did a poll on which console people wanted the most, and PS4 won with 38,984, and Xbox had 2,164.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah,
well, it might just be internet hype. It might change
yeah,
over time.
well, that's the thing. Microsoft came out and kind of was business as usual. Sony came out and started off slow, and I'm like, oh man, this is not, this is not what I want either. And then they started ramping it up throughout, and that's brilliant on their part. And they really got me on board, I think, right there.
They took a huge dump on Microsoft.
Yeah.
They were like,
they
yeah,
showed
we
games,
we
they
could
just
play
nailed it.
offline. We can do
So.
this and that, and yeah.
But at the same time, I think watching both of them, I'm watching. I think never before, I'm watching how little. If you notice,
Yeah.
there were very few exclusives.
It's one of my notes, actually. I
Yep,
agree.
That tells me that I'm going to be able to play a lot of those games on my computer, which is at the end of the day where I want to play them anyway. I mean, I'll have a PS4 because there's going to be some games that I'm not going to be able to play. That Metal
Naughty
Gear Solid
Dog.
game, man, yeah, they might not be out. PS4 or them, they could secure some of those games and I'm still going to want to play them. Metal Gear Solid, like you said, I'm a huge Metal Gear fan,
yeah.
so I have to play it.
Jack Bauer's
have to.
voicing
Yeah, I
Big
have
Boss.
So they were both, their conferences, but I still enjoyed watching just the stuff they had. So
Oh, I personally think Sony, like you said, they kind of started off slow, but they basically they were doing what they were supposed to. They weren't really trying to sort of make everyone just shocked at how cool they just show, okay, this is our console, this is what it looks like, and some basics about it, and showing some games. And there weren't that many exclusives, which is just good for me. But they just did what they were supposed to. Microsoft tried to really change their image after the last time with the whole TV flop of a conference. And what they decided to do was, instead of sort of coming clean and saying, okay, the console won't do this or that, it won't have like always online, it won't be so strict. Instead, they sort of decided to not talk about the console at all. They didn't say anything other than cloud. They talk about cloud. They're not really specific about it either. Just everything's in the cloud. Ooh, and also they were sort of talking about sort of how the infrastructure. They didn't talk about the infrastructure. They just mentioned, the infrastructure is like this, and it will allow for games that go above and beyond, kind of like games like Division. And they sort of boasted that Xbox One is the only place you're going to have that.
yeah,
And I understand them, and they showed some good games. It's kind of easy to see through it, because basically what they're doing is they're still releasing that shitty console with it's not a terrible console, I'm sure, but all those hurdles that you have to go through as a gamer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like they're telling you that you should be glad you have to pay for this console in the first place. Like, you should be glad that you're allowed to own it.
I think if you guys didn't see the quote, because they're basically doubling down on the fact that this has to be online all the time, and things like that, which is a problem for some people, And there was a quote, I think it was from the Don Matrick, the guy that was out on stage, the main dude, and he said, well, if you can't be online all the time, we have a console for you, and it's called the Xbox 360. I mean,
that is,
on.
I don't know if he said it like sincere. Yeah, I don't know if he said it sincere, like sort of trying to comfort, or to be a bitch, basically. Like, if you're not good enough for it, like, if you don't want to be in our club, then you're not good enough for it. You're not welcome.
Have the peasant console that's outdated beyond outdated.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, and I'd like to tell those people, you can just build a PC, and, hey, you don't need to spend a lot of money.
The same amount of money you spent on that $500 Microsoft console, you could spend on a pretty decent PC.
Yep. Yeah. So.
But Sony, Sony was just... they were kicking them when they were down and just dropping a brick on their head, and just... It was a massacre. What they were doing, and
well, I don't disagree, but it's I felt like they were just kind of doing their thing instead of trying to compete with Microsoft. They were just they understand their community, they understand what they want, so they're trying to show what they think that their customers want, but at the same time, I mean, they didn't really have that many more exclusives than Microsoft. It wasn't really like you have to buy our console because it is the greatest thing ever. It's more like, look, our console is good, theirs isn't. Which you're gonna pick. So I don't feel like they absolutely trashed them. I just feel like Microsoft sort of trashed themselves, and they kind of gave Sony the advantage.
They were leaning in with their jaw and let Sony just uppercut them in the face.
Yeah, I really think Microsoft just gave the victory to Sony, and they, I mean, not on purpose, but they really made it easy for Sony to win this because there was pretty much no competition, at least when you know all these facts about the Xbox and the rumors about all the restrictions and so on.
And then there's Nintendo that's just doing their own thing.
Holy hell.
Even Nintendo took a jab at Microsoft.
For a second.
Reggie came out and he's like, if you're so concerned about used games, then make better games so gamers don't trade them in. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even remember Nintendo had anything.
Nintendo had Super Smash Brothers and the Wii Fit.
Yeah, they've kind of lost it. I mean,
they're just there doing what they do to their audience, which isn't hardcore, die-hard gamers, but more.
And I think that's why they sort of weren't really present. I mean, they had a booth and stuff.
They don't need to be.
No, because it's not the right audience anyway. I mean, most of the games they release, I mean, there's plenty of hardcore gamers who play Mario and Zelda and so on, but that's not their main target audience at this point. They want to target the casual market more and more, but it's also kind of like the 3DS hasn't been doing that well. The Wii U, I mean, how many games does it have? Like 2 or something? It's not,
They still make games.
Yeah, it's kind of like almost like they're gradually going to pull out, because I don't think there's going to be another DS, because the mobile, the smartphones are just completely taken over that. It's impossible to compete with that when, you don't get the deepest games ever for the mobile, but they're so cheap that it's kind of like, it's just something you do, The DS was supposed to be this thing you played on the bus or whatever, on your way to work, something like that. But the mobile games sort of offer the same sort of experience, even though it's not so deep in story and gameplay, but it's much cheaper. So I don't think and you have to pay so much just for this DS or PSP in addition to the games, whereas the mobile you already have. So I think they're going to pull out of that, and I don't know if they're actually competing with the consoles anymore.
I don't think so. I think Nintendo is just like, we have our fan base, we're just going to do what we going to do, basically.
Yeah.
They're not, but Sony versus Microsoft, there isn't really any Nintendo.
No.
They're just,
stuff, yeah.
They're out there doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the PC market, which is doing their own thing. We're like the hipster group of Nintendo, and everybody's like, go Microsoft or go Sony. And we're
PC
just like,
is always
go
at
games.
the front, but consoles are kind of like not really paying attention, and we kind of walk in front and like, look, we're so innovative. We're doing these things before all the console people, and it's like the console people like,
I can play
whatever.
1080p.
We still make money.
I could play 1080p 60 frames per second 3 years ago. And
3 years ago? Well, I don't know.
You're just getting it.
Yeah.
Barely.
And I think it's cool that AMD snuck their way into both the consoles, I think.
Yeah.
Microsoft and Sony. And I think that's good because for us, if AMD makes a lot of money off of this deal, I'm sure they had to cut some corners and give the manufacturers a good deal to be favored instead of Nvidia. But I think it's good if they're making money from this deal that they're more competitive with Nvidia, because more competition is always good. Better hardware, better prices.
Yeah.
So I think that's good for us too. That AMD sealed those deals instead of Nvidia, because Nvidia is already big enough. They have enough money to themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of PCs, did you hear that all the Xbox One games were running on computers?
Yep. With better hardware than the Xbox One will have, I think.
Yeah, they were running with GTX like
780s
or whatever the highest end PC car, and they weren't even running on Windows 8. They were
Yeah, Windows 7.
They were
Yep.
running on Windows 7.
That should tell you something.
That was I was like, oh, Microsoft, why did you do that?
Yeah,
Because
that's funny.
you're literally saying, this is maybe what it will look like, kind of.
Yep. It'll look like that for me.
It won't. If you gave it to us,
It would if actually Microsoft cared about PC and they didn't force gamers to go to Xbox. I mean, when Microsoft has, okay, we have the rights to this game, to release this game. We own Windows, we own console, one console, and no, we're just gonna screw the PC. We're just gonna go with the console. It's kind of ironic that the company that is supposed to be the most for PC and PC gaming and PC use in general seem to be the one that really still clings to the notion that all PC users are pirates. It's really strange. I can't really see any other reason why they wouldn't release on the PC. If they're making money, then why wouldn't they do it? They want more
Just
money.
do it.
So
Yeah.
money. Everybody wants some money.
Yep.
But I definitely agree that Sony killed it this year, and
Sure.
there's really not. There's I don't care who you are, but they definitely stomped. Is there anything else, you guys?
Nope.
what did you think of? I mean, some of the bigger games that were there, like Titanfall, got
Well,
some
that's
gameplay.
Titanfall's
gonna
coming to
say-
PC, so
I was gonna save
Yeah.
that for later because I have. Well, I'll just mention that was, man.
That was
I
kick-ass.
thought that was the best game of the whole thing for me, honestly.
See, actually, I felt it was like, yeah, it looks okay. I didn't really
I
feel
liked the-
anything else. It was kind of like a.
Once they showed the trailer was boring when they showed that, but when they actually showed the multiplayer stuff, that's what really.
Yeah, it looked cool, and you have the mechs and stuff. But at the same time, I kind of felt like, well, it's a multiplayer shooter. I mean, it's the next step on the ladder, but it's I don't know. I wasn't blown away by it. It looked like a multiplayer first-person shooter, and I mean, I love multiplayer first-person shooter, but it was kind of like, I don't know. It might be cool. Maybe I'll get it. But they still sort of have to show that it's going to be worth the price, because they're probably going to slap an extra $10 on top of that price tag.
DLC.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah, map packs, and the same goes for Battlefield 4. It was like, yeah, it looked cool. It's basically the same game, but with a bunch of additions, bunch of new stuff, more destruction.
Yeah, I didn't
it's kinda
even
like-
really need to be shown Battlefield 4 to know that I was going to get it. So yeah, it was
I
like
thought it was going to be Battlefield 3.5, but after
it looked
watching
awesome.
it definitely looks
Yeah.
graphically better than Battlefield 3.
It was awesome. I mean, but that's I think the opposite of how I was. I was kind of looking at Titanfall. I mean, it does have. I mean, you could tell it was made by Call of Duty guys.
Yeah.
You could tell
Yeah.
when they well, at least when he was shooting. But I think the interesting thing about that game, where it was most exciting for me, is how the mechs looked like they controlled, and the fact that they're gonna. I don't know how it's gonna work yet, but it's exciting to hear how they want to mix single player and multiplayer together.
Yeah, that sounds
Depends
As
on
long as
what
it
they
doesn't
do.
turn into Brink.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Because that was the sort of same thing. Oh, you have a co-op multiplayer, single player campaign, but it's multiplayer and it's really cool. And then it's like, no,
It
it's
was
actually just
terrible.
multiplayer with bots. Yeah, it was horrible.
It
And-
was
Yeah.
one of the worst games I've ever played.
Well,
and I paid full price for it. That and Homefront 2 are sort of my biggest
Yeah.
bummers in recent
ever.
years. I bought both of them at launch, and actually before launch, and I was like, what did I just spend my money on? This
I
is...
think why Titanfall is so exciting to me is because it's the guys who made Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, and basically everybody's been trying to go after that ever since then. And these guys look like they're saying, we kind of just went back to the drawing board, and the mixing
They're
up
doing
of
something
everything
original.
too, I think
Yeah,
looked
that's
just awesome.
something I felt was good too. That they have it is a Call of Duty competitor, obviously, but it's
Oh,
they're making their own sort of game. They're not just being told by EA, okay, look, you're gonna make Call of Duty now, but we're gonna call it something else,
yeah.
Duty Call, or
Yeah.
just
With
something
dogs.
really
Call of the
blatant, yeah. And it's like free pre-order dog DLC, but they're actually sort of making their own thing. I mean, it is, you can see like when you hit an enemy, it's the same sort of pop up in the middle of the screen, and a lot of these things are similar, but it's still enough of its own thing, it seems. I mean, the fact that it is sort of like a sci-fi shooter instead of modern warfare is just a testament to that, really.
Yep.
So I'm glad that they're doing their own thing instead of just blatantly trying to rip off their own game, but with a different name.
I agree. We should get more of those kind of games. Like, just imagine if, what's the other developer? There's Infinity Ward, and then what's the Treyarch. Treyarch should do a zombie standalone, for example.
Why not?
Why not?
I mean, Call of Duty Ghost to me. I just
I look at it. I'm like,
absolutely, honestly,
dogs.
do not give a shit about that game anymore. Done.
Dogs.
Dude, I have Battlefield 4, which gives me that more open kind of Battlefield feel with the vehicles and all that. And then I look at Titanfall and I'm like, that's replaced Call of Duty for me. It's just the way it's going to be for me.
Did you see the building falling?
Yep.
Oh,
that was
God.
awesome.
It was-
I'm going to do
Hopefully
that.
it is real, though. It's not just
I
like
think
the
it is
antenna on
scripted.
Cosmium.
I think
I
it is.
think it is.
scripted.
Yeah, I
'cause
think
they
so
were
too,
shooting
and-
it down, but I don't think it'll
Yeah.
be as dynamic as I kind of think of it to be. You know what I mean? But
You
it still
wish
was
you could
awesome.
level an entire city
Yeah,
with an
yep.
AC-130.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
And that's not.
yeah.
We're getting there, but
Maybe in another
Well,
10 years.
I think a point that John Gibson from Tripwire made before they made when they were still making Red Orchestra 2, because they were considering having some destruction, and the game turned out to pretty much have no destruction apart from like a few objects. But he was talking about yes, there's destruction, but you can't really level whole cities because then it's not
Yeah,
that fun to fight over just a empty flat waste. And I think the same goes for Battlefield 2. So I can understand that they don't want everything leveled. I mean, Bad Company 2 had some of these issues with the rush mode where you could basically destroy the whole building, and it was like and Battlefield 3, I suppose, too, some maps where it's kind of impossible to arm the MCOM because it's completely open. There's nothing to hide behind while you do it.
happening.
So
You have to physically hide behind the MCOM itself. That's your only cover, I guess.
yeah. So I can understand, but I think it's cool. I mean, also the fact that the skyscraper is sort of not the map. I mean, there's a map and there's a skyscraper in the map, and you can jump out of it and you can run around it outside, and you can walk up all the stairs or take the elevator. It's not just the entire map is only the skyscraper, like one of those close quarters maps for Battlefield 3, which is basically just
Call
a bunch
of Duty.
Yeah, trying to be Call of Duty, but not with the as good hit detection
Yeah.
with the whole play and so on.
Yeah, it's definitely meant for a wider audience. Or I wouldn't say a wider audience, but a wider group, battlefield, literally, than COD, which is close quarters, spawn behind everyone. But is there anything else you guys liked? Or
I could talk about it for hours, but there was a lot. So
Well, is there anything that you absolutely disliked that, or were
I
disappointed by?
personally, I don't really have anything else to say, but just Star Wars Battlefront made me giddy. It was literally, I mean, I bought an Xbox 360 looking forward to Battlefront, and that never happened that generation.
never happened.
And now it's finally happening, and it's coming to PC, which means there will be mods.
Nice.
So it's like, it's just.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything I was necessarily disappointed with too much. So, yeah.
Microsoft, insert
Yeah,
Microsoft hate speech here.
Sure. Yeah, I was definitely disappointed just overall with them. But in terms of most games, I wasn't really disappointed. I think there was something for everybody
I
to be
agree.
excited about.
It was definitely better than last year, which was all about connect,
Yep.
connect,
It's just
connect.
it was
Yeah.
just all
Yeah.
waiting for this one. The
Yep.
past years, basically.
And now it's here. And now 2014 is going to be
Exciting.
games
Yeah.
and probably like software updates or updates.
Who knows?
And
Maybe
more
It's-
PC gaming. And then maybe I'll be able to give my 680 a workout because right
Yep.
now it's barely running with all the games I play.
You have to
Yep.
put your PC in power save mode to actually get some or something like that to actually feel the
Yeah,
that games actually require hardware.
yeah,
Well,
basically.
it'll be I think one of the things that I mean, because like I said, I play on a monitor that's the 1440 resolution, but it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. I think in the next, I mean, not anytime soon, really, but that definitely sometimes pushes my 2 graphics cards when I have to run it at that.
What graphics
like-
cards do you have?
I have 2 670s.
Oh, that's not bad.
And like running Metro 20 or Metro Last Light,
Light.
it definitely punishes it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was playing it on high, and with my
Yeah.
single 680, I had the, like, I'm not going to spoil anything, of course, but, like, towards the end, where there's a big battle,
Yeah.
it starts to
Slow
lag a
down.
little bit. I think I dropped to, like, 30 frames per second,
Yeah.
and but that's about it. Like, it was still playable. It was just a drop. But goddamn, I hooked that game
Good.
up to my my parents' giant TV out in the living room.
And it just looks good.
It looks, it's beautiful. It's absolutely
Mhm.
stunning. It's definitely a showcase for PC gaming.
Yeah.
To truly show graphics, because I don't think I've never seen any game like that pushes graphics that far.
Yeah. They did a good job with 2033, and it just continues along those lines.
Yep. But that's like beating a dead horse. We know that
Yep.
game's epic. If you haven't played it, go play it.
Yeah, I mean, for the lighting alone, it's worth it. I
It's
mean,
a
that
good
is some
game.
of the most realistic lighting I've ever seen. And then comes all the other
Period.
good stuff.
Oh yeah. It's. I have yet to find any flaws in that game. But that's just.
Well,
me.
actually, when I wrote the review,
There's a few.
Yeah, I wrote the review and I gave it a maximum score, which is something I don't do very often. I mean, it's not because it's the perfect game. There are no flaws,
Mhm.
but it's like my enjoyment
Yeah.
couldn't get any higher, and it
Yeah,
lasted for as
the
long as
one
it should, and so on.
Thing
It
about
was-
that game that disappoints me is the AI is
Yes.
not good.
Eh.
Like, it's so easy.
Uh,
I was literally standing in front of guys in the dark.
Yeah, and actually,
It's like,
that's
come
something
on,
I wanted
but
to
whatever.
mention because it's after I wrote a review, I checked some other reviews and I talked to people and a lot of people were kind of like iffy with the AI, and then I kind of and it wasn't that I didn't give it a negative. But I just didn't really experience the bad AI because I think I was just so immersed in the game. I was playing, I was sneaking around, and when I got caught, I was completely in panic, and I was completely immersed in this world. So I didn't really sort of get a chance to test my limits and see how far I could go before I got spotted. So during my playing for the review, I really didn't experience the AI being bad at all ever. So I guess I was lucky, but I can see that. And the AI for the first one was downright broken during the stealth sections for Metro 2033. But Last Light was better. And I mentioned the AI in the review, but I really didn't have the serious issues that some people said they did.
Yeah, I wouldn't say even for me it was serious, and it didn't really detract from the game, but it was just there. It's like, that could have been better. But yeah, who gives a crap?
It
This
is
game's
first
awesome.
person, so they couldn't.
Nope.
If it was third person, for example, it would be, I guess,
It was
easier
still
to do
really
stealth.
good.
But like first person, it's extremely hard to do stealth.
Yeah.
because you got to think about it. I mean, like, you're a first-person camera, and you don't know what's behind you per se. So, like, a dark and light element is the easiest to do, I guess you could say. So, but anyways, back to E3. Yeah, definitely, it was a good year.
It was
definitely.
Looking forward to everything. So.
And it was good for everyone because even during the think about it, when they did the whole Connect thing last year and maybe the year before, you were kind of feeling like, isn't E3 supposed to be for us, for the gamers? A lot of people felt kind of betrayed because it was like, look, you can buy this, people, and money. We didn't really feel like, wow, there's no passionate game design to be found at all.
Sequels.
And everything felt so generic and casualized, and I was glad to see that.
New
Though there
IPs.
there are casual games now, and they're children's games, and that's fine. I understand they want to sell it to as many people as possible, but we really got what we wanted. We got so many big titles that we wanted, and some that we didn't know we wanted. I mean, I read some places that some PC Gamer and other sites often give like best of E3 awards and stuff like that, and I don't know if it was PC Gamer or someone else, but someone gave an award for biggest surprise at E3, and that was Battlefront 2. And I wasn't. I gotta say, I wasn't surprised.
Coming,
yeah,
honestly,
EA gave DICE a mission to make a Star Wars game. It's like, what is it gonna be? Is it gonna be Pod Racer 2? No, it's gonna be
Star Wars Connect
Battlefield
2.
game. Yeah, so that was pretty obvious, and I'm also glad they did Mirror's Edge and Battlefront because they did tease that they were also doing some other things, and I was like, well, it's either going to be one of them or both of them, or if they're completely disconnected from their audience, then none of them. But I knew there was going to be at least one of those two games were going to be announced, and we're making this, but I'm really happy they did both.
Yep.
DICE is making Battlefield Scrabble coming to your smartphone in 2014. Oh god,
why not?
that would be terrible.
Yes, it would be.
With destructible
words,
destructible characters.
Yeah.
Exactly. But my best of E3 has to go to Star Wars Battlefront. I knew it was coming. I think everybody knew it was coming. If it wasn't going to be this year, it was definitely going to be next year, confirmed, flat out. But I can't wait to see more of it. Gameplay and trailers that actually are trailers and not CG teasers. But yeah, that's my personal best of show, I guess you could say, on game wise. But there were awesome IPs that I'm definitely gonna play, like Division. I'll definitely get. The Crew even looks cool. I mean, it's the entire America you can drive around in.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same with Division, only more so that they're kind of talking about these possibilities with the cloud and multiplayer and all that stuff, and it's kind of like, it sounds a little sci-fi. It's kind of like when you watch a movie like Minority Report, like a movie like that's supposed to be set in the future and everything's like fancy, and you kind of sit there and like, that's not gonna happen. Come on, they said we would have flying cars by the year 2000, and so you kind of, especially with what a stalemate the industry has been in, there's been no sort of evolution. I mean, PC has been gradually getting more powerful, but there's never been any more sort of like, wow, PC is completely different now, or so
I can hook my PC up to my house.
Yeah, so it's like I'm a little skeptical towards that whole thing because it sounds a little too much. Yeah. Maybe because I've been used to the stalemate, but also the new consoles, they're talking about them and they're basically just regular PCs. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it'll be if it works out, then it'll be awesome. But it might be like kind of like that Shadowrun games they made for Windows Vista that was supposed to be Vista exclusive and blah blah blah. And it's like cross-platform multiplayer and this and that. And it's supposed to be super advanced, and it turned out no, none of that shit is actually going to work. There's not going to be any cross.
Well, I mean, even look
platforms.
when they first showed Connect with Milo. I mean,
Yeah.
it never
That
turned
never
out.
happened.
It
Perfect
will
example,
never
yeah,
be
yeah.
that way.
Yeah,
I
it will
kinda
never ever be
figured-
that way.
I think they would figure out, like, I think our audience would be way too creepy with
Yeah,
Milo. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna keep this as a development game because Milo would probably get assaulted,
Yeah, something disturbing.
and post it on YouTube.
Old man, like stroke him, like come here, little child.
Come here, I want to play with you.
I have candy. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's,
Yep.
I don't know.
And I don't think
So-
I don't think they wanted to do that. So I mean, when that first was announced, I remember watching the chat, and they were like, "We can't wait! This is like pedophile game exclusive
yeah.
for Xbox." I
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, I kind of agree." So yeah, they're not going to release that, and they never
Yeah.
will. But yeah, that was my best of show. What was your guys' best of show?
I think the top three. I mean, there were a lot of games that I really, 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 really liked. So not to say that these are just the top three games that kind of, I'd probably be most excited for. And like I said, Titanfall. Just watching that, I want to jump out of mechs. I want to smash guys into the ground. I want to just that
Parkour.
looked awesome to me. And I love multiplayer first-person shooters, so it hit that really good, and it's coming from the guys that left Infinity Ward. I mean, I loved Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. It's absolutely one of my favorite multiplayer shooters of all time. So the second would be The Division, like we've kind of talked about. Just I'm really interested to see where that goes. It's kind of something I think I've wanted for a long time, but hasn't really been delivered and they never used MMO. But that's exactly what it is. They just didn't use that term. It's a massively multiplayer online third-person shooter.
Yeah, it was kind of confusing because it was like
Yes. I don't think they
the way
wanted
they
to say
started.
it.
Yeah, when they
Because-
started the whole presentation, it was like, okay, so and then you're walking with these guys, and like, okay, it's sort of like a single-player game, but then the voiceover is kind of weird sometimes. Like,
Yeah. Yep.
you don't sound like you're in a gunfight, but then it's like, oh, they're players. It's a co-op
Yep.
game. Cool.
Yep.
And then, at the end, it's like, oh, other players. And then, whoa, it's an MMO. But it's like, so it's
If
kind
they
of...
say MMO, they're gonna be like, "Oh, is it
Yeah,
coming to PC?"
Well, that's the thing. There were a lot of them. I mean, there were a lot of games that just... I think that'll be the big thing, is there's going to be a lot more connected games. I mean, even Titanfall, they're blending the single-player, multiplayer aspects of games into something else. And I mean, The Division, that could easily be a co-op shooter with a multiplayer portion, but it's not. It's going to be a huge open world. And I think that was really, really cool.
As long as they nailed the mechanics,
Yeah.
because it has to feel like a third-person shooter. It
Yep.
shouldn't feel like a sort of MMO and sort of shooter,
Oh, hell
but it's
no.
kind of like
Yeah.
a jack of all trades and
It
master of none.
basically reminded me, it's like, this is Ghost Recon with World of Warcraft. It was like, you
Even
go
better.
around and do stuff.
It was kind of like, tactical, semi-tactical,
Yes.
semi-realistic
Yeah.
third-person
So I'm
shooter.
down with that. But yeah, the third game, it was kind of a toss-up for me as most exciting. Definitely Metal Gear Solid. Like I said, there were a lot of games, but that really excited me. But I have to say, I have to put it in there as The Witcher 3. Just even finally seeing actual little snippets of gameplay, the fact that it's going to be an open world, just could not be much more exciting to me. So that would definitely, just being able to see it a little bit, I was like, yep, I'm ready for that. I can't wait to see more. I just want it now.
My body is ready.
Yep, it was awesome.
Jensen.
It's kind of complicated for me because, like Merc said too, there's so many games that look cool. But I had hoped there were some games that I really wanted to see gameplay from. There was Hellraid. It's
Yep.
not like it's the most it's not like the most anticipated game ever for me or anything, but it just looks cool enough that I wanted to see some gameplay. And same with Techland's other game, the Dying
Yeah.
Light.
I didn't even really see that. They showed
Yeah,
that.
exactly, and that was disappointing for me. So I
Forgot
couldn't
about
really put those as sort of best of show because there wasn't really anything to see, and that was kind of annoying. And also, it's cool that they have Battlefront announced, but I felt like they didn't really show anything. And for me to have like a best of show, they have to show the actual game. So I think Metal Gear Solid 5 would probably have to be around the top, maybe shared with The Division. But again, I'm kind of conflicted about them because, first of all, maybe they're not coming for the PC at all. So for me, that's kind of a bummer in that case. Yeah. But like you said, the open world aspect of it was just really awesome. I think because there's not that much, it hasn't been done that much in stealth games. The whole and it's not just look, it's a big open world. It's a big open world, and you can drive cars and you can do things like you can, in open world games, and like you see him get in the back of that truck behind the barrels and sneaking in that way. And there's probably like hundreds of ways you can approach every situation, kind of like Crysis. The original, how you could there wasn't that much stealth necessarily. I mean, it was a shooter, you could stealthily sneak past, I suppose, but how you combine the stealth and the speed and the armor and all those things to sort of make every situation unique was pretty cool.
Well, I think for Metal Gear and there's probably some others that'll be with that open world, I think a big change will be the AI will make it more possible, because there's so many variables in an open world that they weren't really able to do that. So I think that stuff will work out a lot better.
Interesting.
Did you guys see the extended trailer?
I did. It was very, very beautiful.
Yep.
The beginning of it where you had the torture of people and stuff, and the kid that had his stomach open. It was pretty
brutal,
gritty. Yeah, it was gritty. It was, but it was kind of like what I said about sort of Metro Last Light and Witcher 2, and they're very adult games. They're not just mature violence, but they kind of touch on certain topics that are pretty sensitive. I mean, torture is, you see sort of Jack Bauer do it in 24, and then you kind of justify it because, but he has to stop the bomb, but he knows that's the guy who knows it, so therefore he tortures him to get the answer, whereas in real life, actually, torture has time and time been proven to, not be effective at all, because you just torture a person until he says what you want him to say. So it's a very sensitive subject that's actually something that happens in real life. So I'm really excited to see where they go with that.
It's definitely not for the Call of Duty kids.
Yeah, I think. I mean, all the Metal Gear games, especially 4, was pretty story heavy. I mean, some might say it was too story heavy. Some cutscenes were
I loved it
60 hours long.
I loved Heavy Rain. I don't know if you guys have played Heavy Rain, but that entire game is basically a movie. And I like those kind of games. It's not even a game, it's more of a movie that you...
More of an experience.
It's the experience, because that's what I play games for. I play it for the experience more than the gameplay, I guess you could say. But that's just me. I know there's probably people out there that play it for specifically...
all kinds of things.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just me.
So... going back to sort of what I said about games I really am excited for, and but kind of were disappointed by the presentation of. Again, Witcher 3, I mean, I am dying to see it, and it would probably be on my top
There wasn't a lot.
No, because I didn't see any gameplay. I saw that really cool trailer, but it showed what we knew was going to be there. It was going to be open world. It's going to be set in sort of like Nordic forests and stuff like that, and it's kind of like, looks awesome, but we knew it would look awesome, so nothing new really, and there wasn't any gameplay, so I'm at least glad Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag showed some gameplay.
Pirates.
And I think that looked pretty cool, and Dark Souls 2 had some gameplay. Thief 4 had some. I saw GameSpot had a sort of stage where they showed some games, and they look pretty cool too. But they're kind of like, I want to see more before I start getting too excited. So for me, the problem was just that the games I was most excited for, I was kind of disappointed.
You didn't get to see a lot of it. Yeah.
But I didn't have Metal Gear Solid on my radar at all.
Yeah, I didn't really too much either.
Nope.
And then it just came, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. I really want this on my PC.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would end Division again. I'm kind of skeptical about how much how far they're gonna actually go with what they're promising. But even if all that whole MMO shit just turns out not to work at all, it still looks like a pretty cool cooperative third-person shooter still. So even if it was just that would be great. It just looks like a really cool game. So I think those would be my top two, Metal Gear and Division. And then you have, Witcher 3, which is sort of just by default somewhere in the top. Yeah. And it was cool that they had Mirror's Edge and Battlefront announced, and Watch Dogs. I don't know. Did they show? Was it Sony's conference? They showed Watch Dogs, or was it Ubisoft?
I can't remember. I think it might have been at Ubisoft.
That too was kind of with the whole hacking and the open. Like, is it co-op? Is it an MMO? It was kind of confusing too. It seems a little bit like.
Well, I figured out more. Yeah, it was the multiplayer. I didn't really get it until later. I've read about it, and it's gonna be the best way to really understand it, I guess, to me is, and what they said is, it's kind of like Dark Souls. You can hack into other people's games and all that. Yeah. So what that entails, who knows? But I mean, that game, I was already sold on it from what I saw before. So.
And it is coming to the PC, right? It's
yes.
Sort of.
Yep.
Debunked it.
I was just reading on GamesOn.net. They are going to be bringing Metal Gear Solid 5 to the PC. It is going to be on the PC, but it won't be released on the day that it would be released on consoles.
I will happily take that compromise. Yep. I will easily wait a little. Yeah, I will easily wait a little extra. That's better.
Hideo Kojima said, "Of course, we are developing on PC, so we look forward to releasing something on the PC sometime. But right now, we have no release date."
Yeah.
But, and now we play the waiting game.
Yeah. So maybe it will come out in 15 years. So
I will still wait.
Well, I will have a PS4, and I probably, if it runs at 60 frames per second, 1080p, I really won't complain.
Well,
play it.
Yeah,
so
maybe that.
I'll just play it on there. But yeah, just to clarify that to those listening. But yeah, that's basically it from E3. There's really nothing else to talk about, unless you guys have some closing thoughts.
That's it. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I think it was the mere fact that there isn't really any worst of E3. Sort of, you don't feel like there's any wow, that game blew it, or anyone sort of sucked. I think that speaks to how good this E3 was, that there's so much cool and good to focus on that you didn't really notice anything, sort of like Milo, for example, like on Kinect, where it looks cool as hell, but you just know it's never, ever, ever going to work, and the Kinect isn't going to work either. So I think it's that's pretty cool, and there were just so many games, and I'm also happy there's less exclusives. The consoles are, closing in on the PC in terms of the hardware, and therefore probably making it easier to port between the systems without, losing in terms of graphical fidelity or bugs or anything like that, especially for Sony, compared to the PlayStation 3, which just was horrible with certain games.
I agree.
So I think that's great, and it's great for all of us. It's great for the console players, for PC players, for everyone wins basically. And I think that's I think this is one of the best E3 years in that sense in many years. Even though again nothing really blew me out of the water, it was just all good. I expected it to be good, and it was good, and it just delivered. And that's more than I can say for a lot of the past E3s.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's it for me. Anything else?
Nope, sounds good.
I'm good.
All right, well, thank you guys for listening to the Pixel Judge podcast. My name's Cat Attack 123.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Mr. Jensen.
And we will see you next week for gaming news, if there is any gaming news. It's gonna be
it's the summertime.
We may or may not. I mean, E3 was just here, but there's like, I don't know, is there anything really going to be coming out? Or
It's kind of like
news?
after the Steam summer sale, there's
Yeah.
been this whole sort of hectic few weeks, and it's like, oh, everything is exciting, and then after that, it's kind of like nothing's happening, and your life just
Yeah.
feels empty, and your
Yeah.
wallet is
This
empty.
is
And
kind of
Yeah,
this
the
time of the
same with
year.
news
I
and
kind of
E3, it's
jump
like-
around to
Yeah,
all
and-
kinds of stuff.
yeah, and during E3, it's like, oh, everything's exciting, and then after that, you kind of feel like,
all the exciting
like they're
stuff's
waiting
gone,
for your next
and
high. Yeah,
now it's
Yeah,
back to
long
boring
wait.
old news.
yeah.
Dota 2.
Yeah, Dota. Playing Team Fortress 2 and Dota and our Call of Duty. No, don't just kidding. But we'll see you guys later.
Yep.